All right, so good morning. It is day 16 of the Men in Recovery National Recovery Month series, and I'm really grateful and happy to have my friend Randy Boyd with me. I met Randy at It Happens to Boys 2 conference, Palm Desert, which has been an amazing conference to really challenge the myth about sexual abuse in boys and men. And it's really been a great advocacy piece, education piece to really be out there. And I met you as you were writing your book. And so that was a wonderful day to connect. So welcome, Randy.
Thanks, Dan. I'm glad I could be here this morning, bright and early.
Yeah, it is bright and early.
Yeah.
Yes. So start every conversation the same. What's the greatest gift that recovery has given you to help you be the man you always knew you could be?
Well, there's actually a lot of gifts, but the number one most important, greatest gift is that it gave me my voice back. Growing up as a kid, my voice was taken from me. You talk about the man rules all the time. And, I just had to be quiet. Being abused, anytime I tried to say anything, it was downplayed. Who do you think you are? Who's going to listen to you? So I just learned to be quiet. But as I got older, and before I got into recovery, my voice, when I wanted it heard, came out in rage. It's the only way I knew how to get people to listen to me. And actually was doing just the opposite, pushing everybody away from me. But then when I got into recovery, with my therapist and with the counselors at where I went to treatment, they all started validating all those feelings that I was not able to have or not able to express for 30 plus years of my life. And through the validation, then I started getting my voice back. And I used to mumble really bad because I didn't think my voice mattered to anybody. I didn't think anybody wanted to hear what I had to say. What I said wasn't important. My opinion didn't matter. But through the whole recovery process, and a lot of work with my therapist, a lot of work with two great sponsors that I had. My voice does matter. I do have a voice. And what I say does matter. It doesn't mean that it's always right, but I have the right to voice my opinion today. And as Dan, you know what I do, for the sexual abuse part and in my book. And I'm going to be that voice for the men that don't have voices right now. I did an interview a couple months ago, and I says, I'll be screaming out my voice in my grave for men that have been sexually abused. Because so many of them feel that they're all alone.
That's honestly that's an amazing story of recovery, and truly of men's recovery. And I hope people really can grab onto this idea of, as a young boy being abused, you were silenced, and your rage as an adult was a desperate attempt to be heard, using in many ways the only tool that men are given of anger, and mixed in with the shame and the trauma. But finding your voice, you've really done. You've written this book, really vulnerable, honest, provocative book about your experiences being sexually abused, but you also used it to educate around trauma and specific aspects of trauma. So you clearly have found your voice, and I think the gift of recovery so often is that your rage and everything was your greatest challenge has now become your greatest asset. And we hear that so often in recovery. What would you say with that voice? What would you say has been the impact on your relationships?
Well, with my wife, being able to be vulnerable with her has opened up our relationship to an intimacy that I never knew was possible.
Mm.
She's the first person that I ever told about my abuse before we were even married.
Mm.
So I think in our struggles that kept us together for a long time. But once I started regaining my voice, and then I allowed Kathy to have her voice, that openness and vulnerability has allowed us, like I say, to grow intimately, even at a greater depth. But then even with other men in my life, me having my voice and being able to speak it the way I speak it when I speak at the conference, or I speak at recovery centers, or I just one-on-one with men, it allows them to open up and say, you know what, it is okay to talk. If Randy can openly talk about all this and talk about it in a loving way, then there's something about this being vulnerable and open. So I think that's been one of the biggest impacts is going from a victim mentality that I first started out when I came into recovery to a courageous, healing, thriving survivor mentality, and be able to share that with other men.
So an issue that comes up a lot of the time is, why am I supposed to have compassion for a man who's rageful? Because he's hurting people. He's being abusive. He's hurting people. What right do you have to take away somebody's voice in a marriage? So speak to that a little bit, because I find myself often trying to bridge that gap between compassion and responsibility. But share a little bit about that, if you would.
Well, in terms of Kathy taking her voice away, it wasn't about Kathy. It was all my insecurities. And so when because of that wounded part of me inside, when I felt like she might be attacking me, which she never was, then I would attack her in ways that I was a verbal rager, not a physical rager. But words, Dan, as you know, do far more harm than any kind of physical stuff. And I can remember looking back, I don't know, about 5 years ago, why didn't Kathy love me the way I wanted to be loved before I got sober? Why was she pulling away from me? I mean, we had this great relationship for so many years. And then I realized, well, I didn't love myself. So how can she love me? And all my rage was coming out on her. And so I just had to learn, when I got in recovery, I had to learn how to take that rage and talk to another man. A lot of times what I would do is before I got home, if I was having a bad day or things were upsetting me, I'd call one of my sponsors and say, hey, look, I'm walking home right now and I'm not real happy about what's happening. And so we would talk, so that when I walked in the house at night, I could give Kathy the love that she deserved.
Mm.
Because she doesn't deserve all my garbage that I've been carrying around for all my life, and then the garbage that the world dumped on me for that day. Our time together has got to be sacred.
Yeah.
The only way I can do that is if I leave all that stuff that the world dumped on me at my front door when I walk in.
So the gift of the voice, the gift of our voice, is also about our ability to tell on ourselves, our ability to speak up, not to be heard in a way that brings attention to us from a advocacy or a being of service perspective, but also in a way that says, this is who I am. These are my struggles and these are my imperfections, and I have to use my voice so that I can grow. And that means humbling myself and being vulnerable, as much as it means projecting this powerful man of service and this powerful man of wisdom or strength. So I love to see you out there. I love to see you continually finding your voice in your mission and how you're doing this at the age you are. I mean, that there's no time where it's too late to find your voice, to make a difference, and to free yourself, really, right, from the pain. And recovery frees us from the pain if we use our voice, if we speak our truth, even when it's really, really painful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think that's the key that my sponsor always told me. Randy, speak your truth. What's your truth? Only you know your truth, so speak it. And you're right, Dan. It's extremely painful at times, especially in early recovery, when all of a sudden you're opening up and you're talking about all this stuff. But I always tell people, we have to walk through that pain that we stuffed so many years ago one more time in order to heal from it. We can't ignore it like it's not there, because it is there.
Yeah. So, Randy, I so appreciate what you're doing. You're bringing a truth to recovery for men that still is not out there. That's still not a core message. Not only about the trauma, but about the pain that so many men are carrying around sexual abuse because they were silenced so long ago. And whether it's retreat or isolation or anger and rage, these men are struggling to find peace. Even men long in recovery. So this is a true celebration of Recovery Month, and I love that voice is the gift for you, as I do with all my guests. Take us home.
So, if you're new to recovery or long-term in recovery, find that voice. It's so important to find your voice. Your voice does matter. It is important. Your opinion does matter. It's only through finding my voice that I've been able to grow as a man. I've been open-minded and willing through the entire course of my recovery, and I still remain that way, because I'm still, as much as I'm healed, I still have a long way to go. I still have a lot of things to work on. But I can tell you that my voice will never be taken from me again. So just be strong. You're not alone if you've been sexually abused, especially the men. You are not alone. With 1 in 4 boys, and the statistics, I think the statistics are wrong. I think it's even worse than that. But so you're not alone. And there's men out there that are willing to help you and listen to you and talk with you and walk you through the process.
Thank you so much. Happy Recovery Month.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet.
Appreciate all you do.
Thanks, man.
All right.
All right, bye.